homeless. So, she goes and sits outside on this bench. While she's sat there, an older lady comes walking past. They strike up a conversation about her walking stick. She sits down to have a chat, and the lady goes to her, "Oh, I assume you're not vaccinated." She said, "Oh, no, I'm not." She's like, "Are you?" She said, "No, I'm not either, because hence why you're on the lepers bench. This is the lepers bench." So it's got now a reputation in the community, in the local community, that this is the bench where the lepers, the non-vaccinated, the segregated blacks, or whatever you want to call them, is it really any different? That they have to sit there, and so they had a joke about it. When my mum came out of the doctor, there was another guy checking in. Same thing, "Are you vaccinated?" "No, I'm not." "You're going to have to go sit outside because you're not vaccinated. You're a risk to everyone." He then goes outside. My mum made a joke, "Oh, you're going to go and sit on the left bench as well." And I suggested to her the next time she goes to the doctor, well, that's a really good way to recruit people into the movement. Take a business card, take all the Freedom Movement Telegram groups, but go down there and sit with your sign, and spray paint on the bloody bench. This is the lepers bench. This is going to be known now in the community of the lepers bench. And yeah, isn't it funny though? Like they're telling us that we're only 5%, possibly less of the community now. However, she, in the space of half an hour, she met 3 people down at her doctor's who were all unvaccinated. So, it does make you wonder how many of us there really are, whether they're being truthful about those figures. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything like that,
but personal stories can always teach you something. It's what you learn from life. One of the most powerful personal stories that I heard was a bloke whose wife's father was in a nursing home and also was helping his elderly isolated neighbour in the transition to a nursing home. Now he was a wonderful, kind, caring guy. And what happened in the lockdowns was that both of those elderly people were so grief-stricken to be cut off from him and his wife as their carers that they stopped eating and they died. Now, I asked one of my friends, who's a very senior person in healthcare, about this, and he said, yes, the health department is investigating. And that was about a year. So what we have in modern Australia is grief-stricken people starving to death. Now that is not a crime. Is that not something that the public has a right to know about? And for that to happen, people must speak up and must tell their personal stories, because otherwise this new terrifying way of governing through fear will kill more people. We must speak up. Tom might have something to say.
So it's amazing, like, how many people believe that we're one family? Give a shout. Family, we're a family, aren't we? We're a community. I got some inspirational for you guys. My glasses on their side. This is Psalm 23. It says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me in the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. You are my rod and my staff. They comfort me. Verse 5. And you prepare a table before my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup is running over. Surely goodness and love shall follow all the days of my life. Amen.
Thank you. So that story I was telling about my mum earlier, you've got to wonder, I mean, all these people that have had their 2 shots, now that they're due for their boosters, are they going to discriminate against everyone because they haven't had their booster? Are they going to be asking people, rather than are you vaccinated, are you triple boosted? Because, as I keep seeing a meme on Facebook, we are only ever 1 booster away from being discriminated against. Is there anyone else who would like to share a personal story?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to all you lovely people today. I don't have so much personal story. I don't so much have a personal story as much as I have a reflection of being an observer of human rights here in Victoria. First, I'd like to put some questions to you, or some thoughts. When you're pro-democracy and you get labelled anti-government, when you're pro-choice and you get labelled anti-vaxxer, what does that say about the government? What does that say about their policies? When the government's issue with you isn't that you might be wrong, but their issue is that you will not follow them regardless whether they're right or wrong, then we have a bigger issue than the actual matter at hand.
Doing good.
We inherited a legacy from our foremothers and our forefathers. That legacy is democracy and liberty. It's our responsibility. Ask yourself the question, do I have the ability to respond to ensure that the next generations to come inherit the same privileges and beautiful aspects of this country that we got to live through up until recently? Are we going to stand as free people, united, not under a collectivist ideology, but because we believe in the sovereignty of an individual? Democracy does not always get it right. However, it gives an opportunity for people to express their opinions. When the government is put in power and they take an overreach of those laws, we have democratic protocols in place that allow us to pull the reins back in, be it writing letters to members of parliament, be it signing petitions, be it assembling peacefully and freely, expressing concerns. What do we have instead? If I could please draw from history, I'm going to leave out the terms and the names that may stir some emotion, so I'll just refer to it as Central Europe in the mid-30s. They had a government that was democratically elected, voted in. Then that government started to dissolve democracy. They asked the people one thing: relinquish your free will for false promises. Even with good intentions, it paves a slippery path when we give up our free will. And as we've recently seen, they are false promises. We live in a democracy, and it's our opportunity now to make a stand and pull those reins back in so history does not repeat itself. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not going to discuss whether or not something is safe or not. But what I am capable of discussing with you as a citizen who loves his country is I have an opinion, as you have an opinion, as has the opinion at Alfred Hospital, the head physician there, as has the head researcher at the local research institution at your local university. There is no certainty right now regarding the safety and efficacy. Again, I'm not here to convince anyone whether something is safe, but it's the precedent that we are setting right now. What if in the future there is an outbreak and they fast track a treatment and everyone is forced to take it because they did back in 2021? And what happens if then, because of that precedent, what they've been injected with isn't safe? People keep using this analogy of, well, it's the same as drink driving. If you drink drive, then you're not allowed to drive. Granted. In a democracy, we have laws that have been put in place to protect us doing harm to others. When I drink drive, when the law prevents me from drink driving, that is a law that's preventing me from doing something. Guess what? A mandate which forces you through coercion and placing you under duress where you are no longer able to give voluntary consent, that is something that is done to you. It's not something you do. You can pull over or don't even hop in the car. Have a good night's rest, big breakfast, then hop in the car. Beautiful. But you can't undo the vaccine. You can't undo medical treatment. So if we're going to base our decisions on opinion, who has the right to then make a decision for you that the benefits outweigh the risk? Throughout our recent history, we learned from history. The reason we give voluntary consent and we've got the ability to become informed is because we can then live with those consequences with whatever happens afterwards. But when someone's forcing something on you and then there's dire consequences, that's just sad. I don't even know what the word is for that. It's horrendous. If I can just take a moment to center myself.
Great job.
Look, at the moment, I will express that a lot of what's going on right now is illegal. And the only thing that's being pushed forward, the thing that's becoming the decisive point in the public domain is with what level of certainty is that position being addressed. So I'm going to my best ability, address with the most amount of certainty one of the protections that I believe is protecting us here today. Under the Equal Opportunities Act of 2010, there is the protected attribute of political belief and activity. If it is your political belief that mandates violate human rights and they violate voluntary consent, then it is your political activity to not partake and give your voluntary consent until the mandates are dropped and you are free of coercion and free of being placed under duress and economic hardship, then you are protected from direct discrimination to stand up against these mandates. Now you're not going to read that in any newspaper. Just like this country in Central Europe presented very well their position that ended up dissolving democracy. How did they do it? That particular country had the most amount of Nobel Prize laureates in the world. They convinced the laureates, the professors, the head of the institutions, the generals, the leaders, if we change our values from we are all born equal to what is your contribution to society, a collectivist ideology, they all bought in because they were promised a seat at the table once they brought it in. And then it was very easy for them to trickle that down through the masses. And that's exactly what's happening now. Every single public media release, every single bit of information released by some head institution, whether it's a medical, engineering, whatever it is, they're all peddling the same narrative. They're trying to filter that down. So what I may be saying now, again, it's only opinion, but I'm saying it with a level of certainty, the same certainty that they're telling you that the Constitution doesn't protect you. If we've recently heard last year that certain members of the judicial system are exempt from the vaccine mandate, guess what? That same Constitution protects you. It's not the government that protects the people. It's the laws that protect the people. The government has an opportunity to govern us as long as they abide by those laws. And here we together stand saying no. They have breached not only our human rights, they have also breached the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, Article 7, non-deplorable. Under no circumstance is that to be violated, even during a state of emergency. You write to the Human Rights Commission, you write to the Victorian Ombudsman, you write to the Australian Human Rights Commission, and as soon as you send them a letter about that, they send, well, internationally it's been accepted that we can get around that. It's on their very website, the Attorney General's website, that under no circumstances can it be violated. So you write to them, you extract that very article, and you ask, I would like to understand the nature of how you have evaluated that it is acceptable to violate Article 7 when it clearly states it is non-deplorable. And guess what happens? They don't write back to you. But if we have some certainty within our voice, when we speak our truth, look, I stand here today, I may not, my personal wishes might not go as far as yours, but I'm speaking my truth. And if we each speak our truth, we may find there's a time and place where we have enough people's attention listening to our every word, and what we are saying may resonate with them.
Come on.
And the penny may drop, and they may realise what they've been living under is not what they believe they've been living under.
Come on.
It is said that it's always good to end with a quote, so if I may just take a moment to get one, and I'll read it out to you. All too will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable, that the minority possesses their equal rights, which equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression. Thomas Jefferson. Thank you all.
Thank you, Adam. How brilliant was Adam? We need to hear from Adam again, don't we? He needs to be up on stage. He's got the gift of the gab. I'm getting his number. I just want to let you know we've got somebody else who would like to speak in a minute. I've almost given up on the live stream, honestly. There's so many glitches, which is, we should be celebrating that, as I said before, because that just means there are just such a vast amount of people there, it's ridiculous. So it's either that or censorship. But I think it's down to the technology. So look, we will try to find a solution for next week. We want to keep holding the ground here every week whilst things are going on in Canberra. None of you better go. You're staying here with me, all right? I want your commitment. No, by all means, if you can get up there, please support Canberra. That's the biggest priority right now. But if you have responsibilities and you're stuck in Melbourne, then please make the effort to show up. Even if there's only a few hundred of us, it's important that we keep holding down the fort while everyone's there. So yeah, we will keep working on the technology during the week to try to improve things for next week, and hopefully have a visual display as well. We may, I don't think this thing in Canberra is going away anytime soon. So, and I really hope it doesn't. I hope we keep seeing numbers grow, but I hope they come from other states, because we've got work to do here, and we've already lent enough people out. So. We're going to hear from Becky now. Beck, you want to come up?
Thank you. I just wanted to say something real quick, but I will start by saying I do not speak off the cuff as well as Adam. So I'm going to read from my phone. But I think that it's important what I have to say, so here we are. So they're starting to ease off on restrictions all over the world, as I'm sure you've all noticed. But does it mean that we're winning? Maybe, or maybe not. When this battle of restrictions and mandates is over, that's when the real work starts and we cannot relax. They forced the majority of citizens, not just here, but all over the world, into a kneeling position, and it was easy for them, for the most part. And now they want to know that they can do this again whenever they want to. They think that they can. So it's essential that we make sure that they can never do this to us again. But so long as the powers that they know exist, as long as they have the powers that they know exist, of course they're going to use them. They want the precedent they've set of outrageous and egregious government overreach to stand. They want compliance without having to put real laws in place, because going down the legislative path still isn't as easy as emergency mandates. They want to set in place the normalcy of these new powers. And they can't afford for us to set a precedent that says they don't have this power, which is exactly why we need to keep the pressure on and increase the pressure once they pretend to lift their boots from our necks. So don't allow yourselves or your friends and family to become complacent in the coming months as life largely returns to some perverse version of normal. Because we must never allow government the power to do this to the people again. And we do have the power to stop them. We don't have to unravel our entire foundation of democracy. We just need to take it back. That's it. Thank you.
In Exodus, it is written that God said to Pharaoh Daniel Andrews, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh Daniel Andrews said, "Lockdown." So God sent a plague and many people died. Some of them from the plague, but more of them from the lockdowns. So God said to Pharaoh Daniel Andrews, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh Andrews said, "Lockdown." So God sent the Delta virus, and many people died. A few of them from the plague, but more of them from lockdown. So God said to Pharaoh Daniel Andrews, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh Andrews said, "Lock them up in their homes again. But just don't call it lockdown." So God sent Omicron, and many people died. A few of them from Omicron, but much more because of Pharaoh Daniel Andrews. This year, vote him out.
So it's good. You know, one thing about Dan Andrews, what he did was he united us. You know, before we were doing our own things, we were taking our holidays, we were having a cappuccino, having a good time. Everybody just didn't get, we just, our neighbor over there said hi and then we walk away. But now he united us. See, Canada is united. Let's give it up for Canada. Canada. Just say Canada. 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 Your inspiration. Amen. And so it's amazing is, it's unifying us. So what's amazing, if you look at the Canadians, they're pretty, actually, I think they're more conservative than the Australians, actually. So if you have a Canadian, a truck driver protesting, he's more mild than you guys. But see, in America, we're just crazy. And so what happened was in America, in California, because the truck drivers, the California governor said, no more mandates, no more masks, because the truck drivers in California. And so, we're, the people, the police here are kind of trying to protect us, whatever they want to do, so be it. But the thing is that we're going to make a stand. I know friends who died from the COVID vaccination. And so, with the whole COVID, the impact that the lockdowns had, but also the impact of people not being able to go to the doctors. See, I got my glasses. I smashed my glasses about 2 months ago, and I went to the eye doctor place. And they said, "Are you vaxxed?" I said, "No, you can't come in." And so I actually got rotten teeth in my left tooth. I want to show you my rotten teeth. I can't go into the doctor, get my teeth fixed because I'm not vaccinated. This is really serious business. Tens of thousands of businesses have lost their business, and homes have been lost, and people are homeless. This is medical tyranny. How many people think this is medical tyranny? Raise your hand.
Come on. Come on.
So we got some more chants here. Sack Dan Andrews.
Sack Dan Andrews.
Sack Dan Andrews.
Sack Dan Andrews.
Save our children.
Save our children.
Save our children.
Save our children.
You got any more brave Australians who want to articulate what they think about Dan Andrews? Come on, you guys. I know you guys are really bashful here. How about you in the pink? Come over here with the pink umbrella. Come on. Okay, anybody else? Come on, guys. Be brave.
Hi everyone. I think probably I'm preaching to the converted already, but I'm a team member of VFM. We have another team member who's in the hospital now. He's unvaccinated, and that's something I'm going to talk about in a second. But he's unvaccinated, and because of that, they refuse to actually try and diagnose him. This man has lost the ability to walk. He has lost the ability to go anywhere, and these are, these hospitals, these people who are supposed to actually take care of the sick, right? They're not treating the sick, and that's just a crime. So anyways, we're thinking about a protest for Mark at his hospital because it's not just happening to him, it's happening everywhere. The other thing I just wanted to say, I am a former molecular biologist and biochemist, and it's been really pissing me off, this crap about talking about this as if this is a vaccine. It's not a goddamn vaccine. Everybody knows it.
That's right.
There is no way, never in the history of molecular biology have we called anything a vaccine that doesn't prevent transmission and it doesn't prevent infection.
Design poison.
Bullshit.
Design poison.
And we need to, in my view, we need to stop calling it a vaccine. It's an experimental injection. It's provably experimental. It hasn't gone through all the clinical trials. Anyway, I've worked in pharmaceutical companies in the clinical trial section, and I'll tell you this, it's breaking every fucking protocol there is. I was going to speak last year, and millions march against mandatory vaccines, and I didn't get to speak. However, because there's some police involvement and things that happen. But even back then, dummies like me knew, with a 20-year-old with a science degree, looking on my computer, the potential problems of this experimental therapy. We knew, right? We've also known, molecular biologists, that coronavirus doesn't infect children very much. We've known that since like 2003.
Right.
So all of this stuff about, anti-science, anti-this, anti-that. I love it when people actually label me like that because they don't have the guts to actually talk to me face to face because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So enough of this vaccination, unvaccination. Either you got the experimental injection or you got nothing. It's a gene therapy. What was that? Yeah, it's gene therapy. It will not change your DNA. However, there's massive amounts of reasons why we've never tried this before. Because the technology isn't there, and in molecular biology, you screw with one thing, you have 1,000 other things that are affected. Anybody who knows about proteins, the way cells work, knows that. And clinical trials for what? A couple of months? What they've done here is they've sold it to the general public with this bullshit number, like absolute risk reduction versus relative risk reduction, right? The clinical trials, they did not prevent you from getting COVID 95%, right? Nothing like that. If you don't believe me, go and take a look at the difference between relative risk reduction and absolute risk reduction. Do you think these people who are also jab happy would actually want to go for the jab if they realize their absolute risk reduction is something like 0.85 of a percentage points? That? No, they would never do that. So that's why this is all crap. And the last thing is this anti-science crap, which is really annoying me. Every bloody scientist knows that as soon as you shut down debate, as soon as, like, that's part of the scientific method, right?
Oh, well said.
It's crucial to the scientific method. So, it's like, as one guy earlier said, and he didn't need to be a scientist to smell a rat.
Oh.
So that's the end of my little rant.
Excellent.
Thank you, Cass. Sorry, there's this one. I just wanted to introduce you to Margaret because she has just a few words, not a lot of words, no pressure, to say about the corruption with the red shirts and what's going on with Dan Andrews in Parliament right now. And I think it's important we're all informed. So I'll pass you over.
Hi everyone. I'm not a public speaker. I'm a back office qualified accountant, forensic, fraud, registered BAS agent, and am out of work. Also did traffic management, can't even do that. Okay, so what's actually developed this week, so I've been following everything internationally and locally. So from my point of view, follow the money. Follow the money. Dan Andrews, according to Adam Sommurak, stole the 2014 election. In my forensic accounting study at La Trobe Uni, what they said is the hardest thing when there's been fraud perpetrated in an organisation is for people to accept that fraud. We have to grapple with the fact that we as a society have been lied to. 2014, Dan Andrews paid out used $1 million of taxpayers' money to just hide it, just in the court system. The upper levels of police knew this. IBAC knew this, did nothing. We, the Red Labor Party, knew this. They did nothing. They did not go to the police. They did not say, they kept their mouths shut till now. Till now, we may not have gone through any of this. I looked at what was going on at that time, and that was the East-West link. The East-West link got closed down for John Holland to replace all the train lines. They're Chinese owned. We don't know how many contracts Daniel Andrews has signed us up to when he should never have been there. Never have been there. People can call us anti-vaxxers. My son is fully vaccinated, but not with this COVID.